Mother revenge.
He left his wife in ICU for other women. I was his mother. I never imagined that one day I would have to choose between my own son and what was right. For most of my life, I believed a mother's love was unconditional. You forgive, you protect, you stay silent even when your heart is breaking. That's what I did for years, until the night I walked into a hospital room and realized silence had turned me into an accomplice. The smell of disinfectant hit me before I even saw her. Machines hummed softly, keeping time like a cruel metronome. Tubes ran into her arms, her nose, her chest. My daughter-in-law lay there, pale, fragile, barely breathing, fighting for her life. And my son? He wasn't there. The call that changed everything. It was 2:17 a.m. when my phone rang. Hospitals never call at that hour with good news. The nurse's voice was calm but urgent. "Ma'am, your daughter-in-law has been admitted to the ICU. Her condition is critical. We've tried reaching her husband." I already knew the answer before she finished. He didn't answer, did he? There was a pause, long enough to confirm everything. "No, ma'am." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just grabbed my coat and keys and drove through empty streets, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. On the way, I called my son again and again, straight to voicemail. A wife fighting alone. When I reached the hospital, they let me see her for only a few minutes. Her eyes were half open. She tried to smile when she saw me. That broke me. "Where is he?" she whispered. I swallowed hard. "He'll be here soon," I lied. She nodded weakly, trusting me the way she always had. That trust felt like a knife. The truth I didn't want to see. At 6:40 a.m., my phone finally buzzed. A message, not from my son, from a stranger. A woman. "Hi, I think you should know your son is with me. He said his wife is fine and doesn't need him right now." My vision blurred. Attached was a photo. My son, laughing, sitting in a car, his arm around her, neon lights behind them, nightlife, drinks, smiles. While his wife was in ICU, I felt something inside me crack, not loudly, but completely. Flashbacks I couldn't escape. I remembered the day he married her. She was shy, soft-spoken, kind in a way that felt rare in this world. She treated him like he was the center of the universe, and I had noticed the signs early, the late lights, the excuses, the way he dismissed her worries. I told myself, it's not my place. That lie tasted bitter now. The confrontation. When my son finally arrived at the hospital, it was almost noon. He walked in casually, sunglasses on, phone in hand, irritated expression on his face. "Why are you calling me so many times?" he snapped. "I was busy." Busy. I slapped him. Hard. People stared, nurses froze, but I didn't care. "She could have died," I said, my voice trembling. "She almost did." He scoffed. "You're exaggerating. She's always dramatic." That sentence told me everything I needed to know about the man I had raised. A mother's realization. As I stood there, something became painfully clear. My son didn't become this way overnight. I had enabled him. Every time I defended him, every time I blamed his wife, every time I stayed silent, I had helped build this monster, and now I had to tear him down. The decision. That night, as I sat alone in the hospital corridor, I made a decision that would destroy my family forever. Or save it. I would no longer protect my son from the consequences of his actions, no matter the cost. Setting the trap. Over the next few days, I said nothing. I watched. I listened. My son visited the hospital only once, and even then he complained about the inconvenience. He didn't know that every text, every call, every lie was being recorded. He didn't know that I had already contacted a lawyer, and he certainly didn't know that the house he lived in never really was his. The calm before the storm. When my daughter-in-law finally stabilized, she asked one question. Will he change? I looked at her bandaged hands, her tired eyes. "No," I said honestly, "but your life will." She cried quietly, and I held her hand, knowing what I was about to do next would shock everyone,
I
including
didn't sleep that
myself.
night. I sat in my living room, lights off, the house unnaturally quiet. Every clock tick sounded louder than the last. On the coffee table lay a thin folder, legal documents neatly arranged, each page heavier than the one before. For years, this house had echoed with my son's footsteps, his laughter, his anger, his entitlement. Tonight, it felt like a stranger's home, because by morning, nothing would be the same. The will he never read carefully. My son always believed everything was already his. The house, the savings, the safety net. He never asked questions, never worried, never imagined that I, his own mother, had quietly planned for a future where love alone wouldn't be enough. The lawyer had been very clear. "Legally," he said, adjusting his glasses, "your son owns nothing yet. Not the house, not the accounts. Everything is in your name." I nodded. "Good," I replied. "Then we begin." The daughter-in-law's choice. 2 days later, I visited the hospital again. She was sitting up now, color slowly returning to her face, still weak but alive, and that mattered more than anything. She looked at me with cautious eyes. "I don't want revenge," she said quietly. "I just want peace." I took her hand. "What if I told you," I said gently, "that peace sometimes comes only after truth?" She didn't answer immediately. Then she whispered, "I'm tired of protecting him." That was all I needed to hear. Evidence has a voice. Over the next week, we collected everything: messages, photos, call logs, hotel receipts, women he didn't even remember meeting, promises he made without meaning, lies stacked on top of lies, careless, arrogant, undeniable. He had never thought someone would actually hold him accountable. He had underestimated the two women he hurt the most. The public mask slips. My son worked at a firm that prided itself on family values. He often bragged about it. What he didn't know was that HR departments listen very carefully when legal documents arrive with medical records attached. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't threaten. I simply told the truth. 3 days later, he was called into a meeting. He came home furious. "They're questioning my character," he shouted. "Can you believe this?" I looked at him calmly. "Yes," I said, "I can." The house was never his. The breaking point came sooner than expected. One evening, he stormed into the living room, rage pouring off him. "I'm done," he snapped. "I'm taking the house. I deserve it." I stood up slowly and placed the folder on the table. "You're not taking anything." He laughed. "You can't stop me." I opened the folder and slid the papers towards him. He stopped laughing. His eyes scanned the pages. The deed, the accounts, the will, all in my name. Every single thing. The look I will never forget. He looked up at me, confused. "What is this?" he asked. "This," I replied, "is reality." His voice shook. "You wouldn't." I met his eyes. "I already have." For the first time in his life, he looked afraid. A mother speaks the truth. "I raised you," I said quietly. "I fed you, protected you, defended you when you were wrong." My voice cracked. "But I will not destroy another woman to save you." He opened his mouth to argue. I raised my hand. "No," I said. "You've said enough lies for a lifetime." The final straw. The divorce papers arrived 2 days later. He didn't expect them. He especially didn't expect the clause detailing abandonment during medical emergency. He came to me, desperate. "She's overreacting," he said. "Fix this." I shook my head. "You don't fix consequences. You live with them." The fall. Everything unraveled quickly after that. His job suspended him pending investigation. His friends distanced themselves. The women he used disappeared. And the house? I gave him 30 days. 30 days to leave. No extensions. The day he left, he packed in silence. No yelling, no insults, just the sound of drawers closing and doors slamming. At the door, he stopped. "You chose her over me," he said bitterly. I shook my head. "No," I replied. "I chose rights over wrong." He walked out and didn't look back, rebuilding what was broken. Weeks passed. The house felt lighter. My daughter-in-law moved into a small apartment near the hospital for follow-ups. I helped her furnish it, slowly, carefully. She began to smile again. Not often, but genuinely. Healing isn't loud. One afternoon, she said something I'll never forget. She said, "I didn't lose a husband. I escaped a prison." I smiled through tears. I told her, "You survived. That makes you powerful." The last message. Months later, I received a message from my son. Short, cold. "You ruined my life." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I replied, "No," I typed. "I stopped ruining someone else's." I blocked his number. A different kind of love. People think justice is loud. It isn't. It's quiet, firm, unapologetic. I still love my son, but love does not mean blindness. It means knowing when to let go. The ending no one expected. Today, the house is filled with sunlight again, laughter sometimes, peace always. My daughter-in-law is rebuilding her life on her own terms. And me? I finally sleep at night because I know I chose courage over comfort, truth over blood, and that choice saved a life.
To be continued, Part 2. Subscribe and tell me your feedback.